All right, guys, welcome to another episode of CUDA Education. So I learned something. Between my last video and this video, which was between yesterday and today. Okay, so remember how we were messing with the tmin and tmax, and how they are the boundaries for the rays that are shot into the scene. So what's the minimum distance that you start counting intersections, and what's the maximum distance at which you count intersections of the rays. Okay, so the last time in our last video we were a little confused about how come you know when we would zoom in and out into our triangle, we you know it would show a piece of the triangle in the center. So I guess I'll just do it here. So right now I have the max set at 2. This is usually 10,000, but I set it at 2, right? And then when I zoom with my mouse, because you're zooming in and out the camera, you would notice that it starts to show just a little bit, but it shows the center. And then as you get closer and closer, you get more and more of the triangle. And if you go all the way in, you get if you go all the way in, you get more and more of the triangle, right? um and we were trying to figure out, well, why does it only hit here? Okay, why does it only hit when you get the first initial touch of the I'm trying to I have like a little, it's a touch mouse kind of deal, right? So right, why, let's just do here. Okay, right? So why does it start in the center? And the reason is because we have a thing called um, equidistance from center, right? So this guy right here. All right. So equidistant from a point sphere, right? So basically, what happens is that the camera that I'm thinking of, the camera that I'm thinking, initially feeling that, you know, set if we set the max to be 2, that the whole triangle would show or none of the triangle would show, right? And we're confused about why it only starts showing in the center, and then as you zoom in you get more. These values are the camera is a point, so it's like the camera is a pixel, and then you're trying to measure distances, uh max of 2 units away from that point. So when you do that, you're going to get a sphere. So the center is in the center of the sphere, or the camera is in the center of the sphere, and then 2 is like everything around that point. So everything around that point creates a sphere, right? So the sphere is really the camera. It's really the lens. It's really the eye of the camera, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, in 3D modeling and all that, um, the it's almost like a balloon. The more you press the balloon into the triangle, is the more you get the triangle. But at the very tip of the balloon, when you're just at the very outer edge of the sphere or the balloon, you're only gonna get the center part of the triangle. And then as you zoom in, you get more and more of it. But you see, like you're getting more and more of an impression of a triangle. But see how the edges are still cut off, and that makes sense because the sphere hasn't, like, basically been pressed into the triangle to the point where you could see the whole triangle. Now, you know because I have this value set at 2, um the distance from the camera is so short that we're not going to be able to see the triangle in its full glory. But that's the reason for, it's called equidistance from a point, which creates a sphere, right? So that's like a computer, that's a 3D modeling concept that I was not aware of, but after thinking about it, it makes sense, right? So the camera is basically a point, and then you're measuring two all around that point. And when you measure two all around, you know, in 3D space, you're going to get a sphere. So our camera is really a sphere, and then we get what we see, right? So let me revert back the remember, this is a shader, the RayGen shader. Let me revert it back to remember this guy here. We're going to revert it back to 10,000. So let me compile the shader, and I covered all of that in the previous video. So I'm actively compiling all the shaders. So once that happens, we should then, you know, because, oh wow, I did the variable twice. Hold on, not good. Okay, that's much better. All right, yeah. Okay, so we're doing it back to the original. So the max distance that we count intersections of our rays going into the scene is now 10,000, right? So when we do that now, we're gonna capture basically everything in one shot, right? So we have our full triangle now, right? We have our full triangle, right? And even when I zoom out, when I move the camera away from the triangle, I still get the triangle. And that makes sense because we're still counting these intersections. When we're all the way out here, we're still counting these intersections. When we're close up, of course, we're counting these intersections, right? But when we start playing around with the tmax value, then we either not count or we count. So you know, while I have it up, maybe I'll just do 22. Okay, so I'm gonna change this to 22. I have to compile the shaders again because again we're doing the shader thing, and we're gonna see how the behavior changes once again. So it was 2 before, which was, you know, I think maybe 22. If I zoom in and out, you know, we'll be able to see some behavior, right? So remember, the camera is like a sphere. It's like a balloon, and anything that intersects into that balloon, we're gonna see. Anything that's outside of that balloon, we don't see in our scene, right? So the camera is like our eyes, and it, you know, it has to intersect that sphere based on the tmax value in order for us to see objects in the scene. Otherwise, it just doesn't count. Okay, so we're gonna run it. This is I guess apparently something common in 3D modeling and 3D graphics and all that. New to me, but that's all good. I'm happy that I learned, and I'm happy that you're learning with me. So when we do that now, all right, so we still get our triangle. Aha. All right, so you see now, because the value is higher, remember I had it at 2 initially, but because the value is higher, we still get some behavior. So let's do 44 or maybe 65. Okay, let's do 65. So let me compile this again. So I got to compile the shader, right? So we're going to see now, so because our max value is a little bit larger, actually, no, we should do it lower, huh? Well, let's do it. Let's see what 65 gives us. All right, so let's rebuild. All right, so we get our triangle. So we should be able to go out even further because we're at 65. So you notice how the triangle is a lot smaller, but we're still seeing it, right? When it was 22, it was bigger and then it disappeared. But notice how it's, okay, now it disappears. So you see, now we're outside, now we're inside, but not, before we're outside of the range, now we're inside of the range. And then we could zoom in the camera and of course we'll see everything after that, right? So let's shorten it up to maybe 11, okay? So now we're gonna see what happens when we change our tmax value to 11, okay? So what should happen? Our the maximum intersections we're gonna see is 11 units out, which means that the triangle should be a lot bigger and then it disappears, right? Because our max value for what we count as intersections is going to be uh, um, is going to be a lot shorter. Okay. Uh, why did we have errors? Okay, I think I had an error of some sort. I don't know why. Shouldn't have an error. Let's try this again. All right, sorry guys. I've been having a little for some reason the compile shaders thing had a little issue. All right, I figured out what my issue was. I basically had the triangle window still open while I was trying to compile everything and do everything. So I'm just recompiling it again. We're at 11. So again, our max value for intersections that we the max value for the distance of intersections that we count is now a lot shorter. So the triangle is going to be bigger and then disappear, right? And we expect that because our max value is a lot shorter. Okay. All right, so we have our triangle, which is fair enough, right? So now we're going to move the camera away from the triangle, right? Remember, this triangle is now in our sphere, in our world, because our max value is 11 and it's in our world, right? But we're going to move the camera away from the triangle, and we first of all, you notice that the triangle is getting smaller, which makes sense. If you move away from an object, the object gets smaller. But then we should see the triangle disappear, right? And you see it disappear there, right? So that's at 11. Let's try 5, all right? Let's get back on track. So we're going to try 5. I don't know, I'm getting this weird error still, but all right. All right, so we still have our triangle. Okay, so you notice how the triangle is much bigger and then it disappears, right? So that makes sense because our maximum distance is cut short. So it's a lot bigger where we can see it, but then it disappears, right? So you guys get the drift. Definitely, if you guys want to wanna be able to run this stuff on your machine and learn Vulkan in the process, tutorial number 1 installs the Vulkan SDK. Tutorial number 13 installs all these examples. So all of these examples here, you get, I walk you through installing them. Now, this assumes that you have a Windows machine, a Vulkan-capable GPU on your system, right? Windows machine, Vulkan-capable GPU on your system. If you want to be able to run the ray tracing stuff, if you want to be able to run the ray tracing stuff, you have to get you have to make sure your GPU is ray tracing capable. For NVIDIA, it's RTX and above. I don't know about AMD and I don't know about Intel. For NVIDIA RTX or above to get the ray tracing, to be able to run the ray tracing example, including this one. All right. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. Equidistant from a point is a sphere, and our camera is a sphere. And from the sphere, we are able, if objects land within the sphere, we're able to see it because the intersections are counted. If objects that land outside of the sphere, we don't see it because objects are not counted. And that is pretty much how this thing works. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. So if you guys definitely get a couple of your friends we're still kind of on the shader group section, which is somewhere in this code. But yeah, but we're dealing with the regen. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Right. So right, we're dealing with the regen reference, the SPV file, right? That's why I have to compile the this file when I do, because this is not SPV, right? This guy is not SPV. This guy is not SPV yet. You have to compile the shaders. I do that. I talk about that in the previous video. Guys, please, I make a lot of these videos freely available. I want to build a community. Tell your friends. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? Work on, get the tutorials. Learn Vulkan. It's a long-term process. It's not an overnight thing. It's not something you could just cram for. You basically play around with the Vulkan API, look at working code, and work your way through it. So I'm on my journey, and I'm taking you guys with me. So support the channel. Tell your friends. Start up a group, a club, a meetup, something, and learn Vulkan. It's well worth your time. You guys get together and play video games, right? And a whole bunch of other stuff. So learn how to do computer graphics one day at a time. So very, very good use of your time. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.